What's up, everyone? It's Cowdy with Money Investing. So thank you so much for joining in. If you guys can hear me without any issues, if you guys can see the screen, just let me know in the live chat. We should be all set and good to go. So thank you so much for tuning in. The NASDAQ is up a little bit over 7 basis points, slightly in the green. We've got the S&P also up over 10 basis points, and we've got the Dow up over 19 basis points. Perfect. Zach, thank you so much. Ryan, welcome on board. Thank you for joining in from Hong Kong. Perfect video and audio. Great. That's awesome. Thank you, Dan. All right, so we are going to break down some of the individual stocks. We got about 17 minutes for the markets to open. Disney is up pre-market. It's up over 4.5%. Starting to pull back a little bit, but it was up much higher, closer to 189, closer to $190 a share. We saw that breakout over 180 after they reported some really strong numbers. So this right here were the numbers. So Disney reported blowout first fiscal third quarter earnings after the bell on Thursday, beating Wall Street expectations on subscriber growth, revenue, and earnings. So the company top subscriber estimates for Disney Plus coming in at 116 million people. And moving forward, you'll notice that earnings per share landed at 80 cents per share, much higher than the expectations at 55 cents. Revenue at just over 17 billion versus 16.7 billion. That was the expectations. The company beat on subscriber estimates for Disney Plus, coming in at 116 million. This number, or this segment, had just over 103.6 million in its fiscal second quarter. Average monthly revenue per subscriber for Disney Plus dipped 10%, in fact, year over year to $4.16. So Glenn, thank you so much for joining. Everything is well. I hope you are staying safe and taking care as well. Good afternoon from Greece. Thank you so much for joining in. So with every SaaS company, there's two things that I personally like is subscriber growth and average revenue per user. In this case, we are seeing a little bit of a drop in that second metric, but still seeing growth. And this is primarily because of the Upstart bundles that they basically launched in international markets in Indonesia and India. So I'm actually subscribed to Upstart as well, so Disney Plus, and it is much lower than the Disney Plus that's offered in North America and other parts of the world. That's why it's dropping some of the average revenue per user, but still substantial growth for the number of subscribers. And of course, the company said it had nearly 174 million subscriptions across Disney Plus, ESPN, and Hulu at the end of its third quarter. So that's a lot of subscriptions. Yes, the generator is out and the power is out. Yes, Richard. So you guys are hearing that in the background. Yes, the power just went out. And the generator just turned on, so that's what you're hearing right now. It's a struggle with the power and everything, but you know we'll make it work. Revenue for its direct to consumer segment increased 57% to 4.3 billion, and average monthly revenue per paid subscriber grew slightly for ESPN and Hulu. So Disney Plus basically dropped, but ESPN Plus and Hulu basically increased. And the company's total addressable market is 1.1 billion households across the globe. So yes, it's a common occurrence here. I am streaming from India at the moment, so that's why the power usually does go out very frequently as well. All right, so they basically have expectations. The company has expectations between 230 million to 260 million subscribers to Disney Plus by 2024. So that is a very substantial number, and we're very confident in our sub trajectory as well. So that was a big catalyst for the company, obviously driving it higher, 4.6%, trading almost as high as $187. SoFi didn't quite do so well, so SoFi basically dropped. I'd say on a decent earnings, it wasn't the best, it wasn't the worst either. So if you take a look at here, you'll notice that SoFi Technologies on Thursday reported second quarter loss of 48 cents per diluted share versus 3 cents per share a year earlier. So I think that's because of their recent acquisition of one of the companies that they actually ended up paying over $100 million. But that's, I think, one of the reasons why their bottom line is a little bit different than their previous EPS, right? So 33 cents to 48 cents is a pretty substantial decrease. But of course, that's on an adjusted basis after incurring like a one-time expense. Revenue rose 231.3 million from 115 million, so that's a good growth. And the company expects adjusted revenue of 245 to 255 million in Q3, and affirmed its adjusted revenue outlook of 980 million for the full year fiscal year 2021. Analysts polled by Capital IQ anticipated GAAP revenue of 973 million. So they came in better than expectations in terms of revenue for the full year for the third quarter as well. But of course, that was the only drop was the EPS which basically resulted in a huge breakdown below 1665, trading as low as 1545. So I'm watching 1431 as the next support for SoFi once again. That is a level we have previously validated consistently once, twice, 3 times, 4 times, time and time again. So that is going to be the level that I'm watching very closely for SoFi right now. And for Disney, of course, we already went over, but we are seeing a breakout here. And it's also perfectly bouncing off of that 200 simple moving average. So the next resistance for Disney is going to be at closer to this $190 level. So previous resistance, we had like a minor head and shoulders pattern before we saw a breakdown for Disney as well below 180, right? So 180 is now going to turn into a support moving forward on the day. All right, so let's take a look here. Thoughts? All right, so let's just see here. Can we take a look at Tattooed Chef? Yeah, absolutely. So let's take a look at TTCF. So Tattooed Chef down over 10%. I'm actually really considering a position here. So you'll notice that we were on this symmetrical triangle, right? So we were making these lower highs and these higher lows. So I think they did miss on their revenue. So they slightly missed on revenue. So they reported after the market closed yesterday, second quarter net loss per share was 65 cents versus 3 cents a year earlier. 2 analysts surveyed by Capital IQ forecasted 1 cent per share. So it's a huge miss in EPS. But the plant-based food company's revenue for the June quarter was 50.7 million. Up from 34.8 million a year earlier, and the average estimate of 2 analysts polled by Capital IQ 54.1 million. So they small miss in terms of the revenue and the EPS as well. And looking ahead, Tattooed Chef said that full year revenue will be $235 to $242 million as well for the company. So definitely watching this very, very closely. Yes, Friday the 13th. I had to put that in the title because it's definitely that day today. So you don't see that day very often, but we'll see what the market kind of brings in, right? So the volatility is absolutely getting crushed here. We are now breaking below 15.8. We're down over 1.16%, trading at close to 15.4. And the VXN was also down yesterday over 5%, right? Trading as low as 19. So this thing is delayed. Pre-market, I'm expecting this number to be also down. But we will see where we actually open up in about 10 minutes for this specific index. Ethereum back up over 3,200, so we are seeing a rally for Ethereum as well, and Bitcoin back up to over 46,000, so we are seeing that rally back up, validating that support roughly at close to 44,000. And as a result, some of our plays like Mara is still doing really well after the brutal sell-off that we saw yesterday. It was down over 3.8%, so we are literally bouncing off of that 3269 3270 levels. That was the first support level, and we're back up over 4.4% on the day. And Coinbase is also pushing higher, up over 2.6%, validating that $255 level here. So yesterday's low was $255, so we literally just came down, validated that support, and now we're starting to move back up. So all right, yes, we covered SoFi, we covered Tattooed Chef, we also covered Disney, we covered Mara and Coinbase as well. So, all right, Dylan says, how do people honestly think it'll grow into its valuation? Which company are we talking about here, Dylan? Would love to know. Tattooed Chef. Okay, let's take a look. We'll take a quick look into the valuation for Tattooed Chef. So right now it's at 1.6 billion market cap, and they basically told us that they're going to be doing roughly $225 million in sales for the fiscal year 2021. So, yeah, I mean, if you take a look at the price to earnings, 169. Price of sales is well over 17. So in my opinion, this is a little bit of more of an expensive stock. Now, of course, after this 10% drop, which will get priced into the new valuation, it is a little bit lower. But I would still personally would like to get a better entry on this if I do decide to get in. It's been on my radar for a long time. A lot of people have been talking about it. So I haven't really gotten a chance to do a full research on this. I need to know what the total addressable market is for Tattooed Chef, right? For plant-based diet, what is the total addressable market in North America and wherever they operate? So again, I have to do some more research on this company, but definitely coming down to more of a reasonable valuation. And if it comes down to this higher low at closer to like $17, $16 per share, like right here, these higher lows, I think that with this symmetrical triangle is going to be a much better and stronger support level than right now. All right, so let's take a look at Wish. Wish is also down a lot, right? So Wish, I think, got downgraded, but they also reported very poor earnings, in my opinion. So, by the way, I got a new feature. It can really now, if you guys comment something, it'll pop up. I got this new feature kind of added to the live streams. So slowly and steadily, we'll kind of up the quality of these live streams as well. So hopefully you guys smash that like button, and it really helps out the channel. And Dylan, thank you so much for that. Yes, I know it's fun. So yeah, thank you so much for that. All right, let's take a look at Wish.com's earnings here. All right, so Wish reported after the markets closed on Thursday. Q2 net loss per diluted share was 18 cents compared to 10 cents same time last year. Analysts pulled at 14 cents, so they came in a little bit more in terms of loss per share compared with the analyst projections. And the revenue, look at this, 656 million, down from 701 million, and the Wall Street consensus was 722. So not only did they decline, not only did they miss their revenues, they also declined year over year in terms of the top line revenue, and they also missed on the EPS as well. So I think that was one of that was pretty much the reason why we're seeing a little bit of a sell-off here of 27%. But I noticed that some bank also downgraded the stock. It's not showing up here, but I think a bank also downgraded the stock at close to $5 a share. Might have been Morgan Stanley or something, but we'll see. We'll kind of tune in on that as well. Let's take a look. So Wish. Yeah, double downgrade. It receives a double downgrade. Let's see. So yeah, so Cowen analyst, they basically downgraded the price to $10 a share from 18, and JP Morgan also downgraded to $5 from 17. So that was the reason. All right, so that's that. And then Micron, a lot of people have been asking about Micron as well. So Micron was down over 6% yesterday. We're watching. So thank you so much for that, Kunal. I really appreciate that. So conviction on AMD and Palantir is well deserved. Do you have a third stock to complete the list? We do. Well, again, in terms of conviction, there are going to be a couple stocks that I'm watching very closely and buying them on the dips. Walgreens has been a stock that we've been buying. DraftKings is a stock that we've been buying slowly and steadily. So, and again, if there's opportunities in the markets with other stocks, then definitely, I mean, I'll be sending out those alerts. I'm sitting on plenty of cash right now, just waiting for the markets to just give us an opportunity, right? If it comes down, then we are good. We are just good to basically jump in. Ismar says the new graphics on the screen, that's amazing. I know, I'm excited. Look at Upstart, 186. So Upstart really pushing higher. But before we jump into that, Micron really had a decent sell-off of 15-16%. So we're bouncing off of that $69, $70 level. So that right there is going to be the support level to watch at the moment right now. So I mean, it's coming down to a very, very attractive level. I look at the RSI, look at the MACD, really oversold. I mean, if somebody wants to take a swing trade on this, this would be like a really low risk, high reward play with you're only risking less than 3%, where the RSI is lining up, the MACD is lining up. And even if you have a price target of 74, that's a 2-for-1 trade, right? So you're basically suggesting a 6% gain with a 3% loss target. If you raise that target even more, potentially up to that next resistance of $82, then your increase, the potential gain is 17%. So I'll actually share this play with our Discord members as well. But of course, double downgrades for Micron as well, not doing so hot because of the DRAM. So I was actually reading up more on this, and we basically learned that there was going into the fall, there's a few banks that believe that companies like Micron, which are more specific to this DRAM segment, are going to struggle with pricing right here. So Micron technology stock drops on Morgan Stanley downgrade. Our cycle indicator has shifted out of mid-cycle to late cycle for the first time since 2019, and So basically what they mentioned was historically meant a challenging backdrop for forward returns while pricing still moving higher, the rate of change is approaching. Yeah, that's not the article that I wanted to go over. But they recently mentioned that they are going to have some problems with the pricing, and that's going to drop their revenues. We'll see how true that is, but definitely very oversold and coming down to like a reasonable level. So just as a swing trade, not a long term yet, because personally I don't like the fundamentals just yet for this company. So we'll keep a close eye as a swing trade for this stock. All right, there's a few more companies that were brought up. So Spotify, yes, Spotify is also very, very interesting right now. So you'll notice that we are pretty much sitting at a support level at close to 211, just getting rejected at those moving averages. So Spotify is also, in my opinion, seems like a decent swing trading opportunity here. So again, these are companies that have sold off on, I'd say, like decent earnings, and that do have plenty of upside potential, right? There's 11% upside back up to 240. That's going to be the 50 EMA. We actually did get rejected at that 200 SMA. We originally took a swing trade on this, and we saw that breakout for Spotify rallied all the way to 280, and since then it's just been a consistent drop of 25%. So yeah, we're going to be watching this very closely as well. Just going to set up some alerts. So Moderna and Pfizer, didn't they receive like another FDA approval for the third dose of vaccine? So there we go, we're up another 3.4%. This is a really volatile stock. I'm not touching this because in my opinion, again, of course, this is based on the catalyst that we're seeing. Trades at 23 times sales. Price to earnings is reasonable, but the price to sales is really high in my opinion, and it's been really, really volatile, right? Just from like a few weeks ago, from July 8th, the stock was up like over 130%, but then it drops like that too. Like this right here was a drop of 25%, like 1/4 of its value basically dropped in a matter of 2 days. So it's really volatile for my taste, but certainly this right here is a support at close to 362, 365, and watch this level, and right now it's kind of bouncing off that level. The R side of the MACD is not quite oversold yet, so watching that very closely. And this right here is the 4-hour chart that we're seeing a little bit of a oversold level for the two MACD and the R side. All right, the markets are open. Let's do this. We got Tattoo Chef breaking below 1880. I'm going to switch over to the actual indices. So we got the NASDAQ over here, up over 35 basis points. Switch over to the 5-minute chart, and we've got the SPX over here, also pushing higher, up over 13. Well, the NASDAQ is up over 7 basis points, the S&P up over 13, and we got the Dow that's up over 26 basis points, so up almost 90 points on the day. And we're going to switch over to some of the 4-hour split charts here, so we can kind of look at different stocks. NEO, I'm assuming it's still struggling a little bit, $42, down almost 80 basis points. So we're gonna put up some different stocks today. So we'll put up Disney and see how that stock is doing, and we're also gonna put Palantir. Let's see how Palantir is doing. Look at Upstart. Upstart's just been on a rally here, up to 190. It's almost gonna hit a new all-time high here. So 191. Again, I did a video on this just like 2 or 3 days ago on Upstart, basically mentioning that I'm more bullish on the company because of the earnings that they announced, right? And the fact that they're going to be jumping into the auto market. And then we'll switch over to AMC here. Just take a look at how that's doing. So down over 2% so far. We got Disney trying to stay positive, back up to 187, and this right here is Palantir, seeing a little bit of a pullback, down almost 1%. All right, TTWO, Take-Two Interactive. This is a stock that I'm like on the fence right now. Like, it seems like a really good value for this stock, so I'm definitely considering this one at the moment, and would love to know what your guys' thoughts are on this stock. Let's take a look at APPS. So Digital Turbine still pulling back. The next support is going to be at closer to $52 a share. So that right there is going to be the support. There's an alert that's going off on eBay. Let's take a quick look. Wasn't eBay also reporting their earnings recently? I think they reported a couple days ago. Slightly pushing higher. So eBay has also always seen like this breakdown from the 50 EMA, and then it's quickly reversed back up. So it hasn't validated the 50 EMA, but it has pushed higher, breaking down and then reversing that trend. So Dave, I think a lot of people will start going back into the market today after all the major reports are out of the way. What do you think? Yeah, I do think that is possible, because a lot of the uncertainty is out of the markets, at least for the short term, until of course we get into September. In September we get new labor market report, new inflation report, we've got the FOMC meeting, and later this month we've got the Jackson Hole meeting as well. There is some fears about potential inflation increases kind of slowing down. I can kind of feel it in the markets, but right now there still seems to be a lot of confusion. I mentioned it in our yesterday's market update, where it's like, you have the Dow rallying the one day, then you have the Nasdaq rallying another day. It's just been back and forth, right? Energy stocks down today, they were up yesterday. If you guys watched my yesterday's market update, we literally talked about the 1 day performance, the 1 week performance, and the 1 month performance. Does anybody remember what we actually noticed with that? I want to see if anybody watched the video. So we talked about the day's performance between different sectors. We talked about the week's performance for different sectors and the month's performance for the different sectors as well. What was the observation that we made during that part of the video? So let me know in the live chat if you guys know what I'm talking about. Carlos, the beep that you hear is the generator, because the power just went out for the second time. So hopefully it gets back, and we should be all set. Yeah. So Afar, you're right, utility month. So utilities were up on the month. What else did we observe in terms of the week and the day? Shay, you're on point. No one sector was up. Confusing market. Yep, you're absolutely right. So that was the actual observation, right? So meaning that basically, if you look in the past, if you look at March 2020, like after the dip, we had one sector basically rally, which was technology. And then when we had like fears of inflation going up, yields basically rallied. Then we had financials, banks doing really well across the board for day, week, and month. And now if you look at it, on the day we had healthcare doing well. In the last 1 week we had, I believe, energy stocks doing well. In the last 1 month we had utilities doing well. So it was just like all over the place from the markets right now. And once again, you'll notice that the Nasdaq has just turned red, slightly down, pretty much flat on the day. And S&P is slightly up over 8 basis points, with the Dow up over 16 basis points as well. Disney stock is pulling back a little bit. And we've got Upstart hitting almost a new all-time high, not yet, still at 191.66. That's the all-time high. So yeah, Palantir has a gap. You're right, Philip. Palantir does have a gap that it would need to kind of fill. I feel like it has already filled. I'm gonna have to clean this chart a little bit. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna actually remove $17. That is still a support. We'll keep a close eye. I'm gonna actually remove this box. That is still a support and a really strong area of demand that we need to watch. But for now, we're just gonna remove that. I'm also gonna get rid of 23 and kind of like these levels. We're just gonna watch the 50 EMA. So 24.30 is the support intraday that I'm watching. You'll notice the low for the day is 24.40 levels. We'll see if that level continues to get validated. Resistance stays put at 25.75, which we got tagged at yesterday and then got rejected at. So it really depends on the volume, right? If the volume kind of keeps up, then we could see Palantir consolidate sideways or see a move higher. But if there is weaker volume, that we see a decline in volume, that I wouldn't be surprised to see a breakdown below $24 per share as well for Palantir. All right, let's take a look at Tesla here and how we're doing. So Tesla down slightly, 25 basis points. Palantir's down. Let's take a look at AMD. Look at that, AMD at 108, pushing higher, up over 1.3%. So that's strong for advanced micro devices. Upstart just hit a new all-time high. So congrats to everybody who's been trading or investing in Upstart stock. 193.13 is the all-time high for this stock on the day. AMC also slightly down 1.3%, but let's take a quick look at the market. So Upstart, Mara, and Coin, 3 winners on the day for us at least. AMD is also one of them, 1.4%. Take-Two Interactive is a one that I'm really interested in. I'm watching in this market at least. Two stocks, Take-Two Interactive and Micron, watching very closely. Square pretty much flat. We've got Activision Blizzard flat. CVS is flat. Google flat. Vertex flat. Tesla slightly down. Apple slightly down. Caterpillar slightly down. Which stocks are really red? So we got Tattooed Chef still down 9%. SoFi down over 12. What was the stock that was down 27 or 23%? Wish. Let's just add that to the watch list here. Netflix is doing good. Let's see. So Netflix is up 74 basis points. Yep. So I'd say like reasonable on the day so far. Let's take a look at Fiverr. Fiverr is also a stock I'm watching very closely. Right? It's just been consolidating. It's got a massive gap to fill. The valuation still is slightly rich. They had, in my opinion, great earnings, strong future growth as well from the company. But just the valuation piece is, I would know jumping in here that I would be paying a premium. So if I'm okay with that, if I'm okay with paying a premium on this stock, then yes, it makes sense why you want to get in. But better entries, in my opinion, 153, you can kind of nibble in at those prices, but a much stronger entry would be at like closer to 128, $120 per share. At that prices, I mean, the growth for Fiverr is going to be very strong, and of course, with that valuation, you can kind of justify significant returns for the stock as well. So, 120. If I can get that level for Fiverr, I will be kind of jumping in at those prices. For Upwork, Upwork as well. I think they kind of compete in the same category. It's kind of breaking down below that 200 SMA right now. $40 is I've identified as kind of like the first support, all the way as low as $35 a share. So let's take a quick look at the valuations here. So Upwork trades at 12 times sales. Fiverr, I think, trades at a little bit higher. Let's take a quick look. So Fiverr trades, so almost twice. So it trades at 24 times sales. So if you're looking at how about Upwork compared to Fiverr, Fiverr is more expensive, which is why I have more of a downside for Fiverr, because that is going to be a drop of, almost 24% more than Upwork, which from its current levels should not be that much, to like $35. It'd be like 17 or 18%. Coin, time to add. In my opinion, no. I wait to like 255s or even 218. Those are some support levels that I would personally be watching to add more. But yeah, we've also got the 50 EMA. So what happened with Coinbase was, we were getting rejected at the 50 EMA once, twice, three times. Then we finally got that breakout, and this previous resistance right here turned into a support at 255, in my opinion. So again, Coinbase, it's so correlated with Bitcoin. So you'll notice that Bitcoin is up over 4.6%, back up to 46,000. So is Ethereum, also up almost 6%, trading past over 32.29. That's why stocks like Coinbase, Mara, they are up substantially today. So yeah, Upstart, Mara, pretty much the two winners on the day so far. Upstart, man, it's not stopping. What's the volume on this stock is just coming in. We're already at about a third of the volume, and it's only been 11 minutes since the open. We got about over 2 million shares traded already, and with over 6.2 million, that's the average in the volume. So Caddy, Amazon is untouchable till 3K, broken 3.3, but you mentioned in the video it's oversold. Yeah, so for Amazon, I think the better value, again, it kind of really depends where you are with Amazon. If you're already in Amazon, like I already am, I'm not adding at these prices. I'm only gonna add at closer to $3,000. But if you're looking to establish a new position, a brand new position on Amazon, first of all, you need to understand what you're investing in. So of course, you need to do some due diligence and understand the business model and what Amazon really does, and how they're projecting to grow their business. That's number one. But number two is 3,300. That's kind of like the level I've been watching, also aligned with that 200 SMA. It wouldn't hurt to kind of nibble in at these prices, right? If you wanna start small position, you certainly can, in my opinion. But I would wait for $3,000. That's kind of like my desired entry. A lot of stocks I have preferred entries, which if they do get hit, that's when I'm actually buying more. But if you're buying a little bit higher, just know that your future returns come down, right? What that really means is if you have a price target of $4,000 on Amazon, like I do, I have a price target of $4,000 on Amazon stock right now. So from its 3,300 levels, if it goes to 4,000, you're getting a 21% return, right? 21% from its current levels. If you wait till 3,000, of course, the risk is it may never get there. Then your return is at 33%, right? So you're increasing that return by 50%, from 20 to 33, right? That's more of a return that you're getting by simply being patient and getting at a lower price. So adding is different. If you're looking to add, then it's different. But if you're looking to establish a new position, it's very important that you're patient enough for your entries, for your prices to get hit before jumping in. All right, so we got Tesla slightly in the green. We got AMD still up to 107. What's over here? AMC starting to push higher here on the day. All right, let's take a look at NEO. Once again, coming down 2.83%. Let's take a look at some of the Chinese stocks here. So look at that, they're all red except for this one company. But we got XPeng, Li Auto, TAL, Baba, it's down over 2%. We got Tencent, we got Didi, we got JD.com, all these stocks. I actually broke down a report yesterday, a Bloomberg piece that basically came out and that mentioned that they are going to be doing these regulatory measures, continuing to oversee some of the companies in technology, big data, AI, for the next 5 years. So they're going to be actively, quote unquote, actively monitoring these companies. So there's always going to be pressure related to that specific catalyst. So we always have to be aware of what the risk is when investing in these Chinese stocks. Of course, on paper, there's a lot of companies that are undervalued of these bunch, right? There's significant upside. But of course, that's the risk that we have to all assess on our own and see where it kind of fits with our personal strategy. All right, let's take a look at the 5-minute chart here. The Dow getting bought up over 22. We got the S&P slightly up over 9. The VXN is down over 5% with the VIX really dropping here, down over 2%, down to 15.24. So really coming down. All right, so let's take a look at some of the other stocks here. So you saw Kathy Wood's FOMO into Palantir today. Yeah, I saw that she bought like 370,000 shares or something like that. That's what I like. It's hard for me to understand why. And again, I've mentioned this, that I really prefer listening to her from a more macro level standpoint. She bought 5.6 million shares, or $5.6 million worth of shares. I thought it was more like 370,000 shares. No? It was something like that. $5.6 million shares. That's a lot of shares. I don't think I saw that. I thought it was like less than 1 million. But anyway, that's a big purchase. But yeah, I like listening to her like on a more macro level standpoint because she does have an economics background. So she does a really good job in kind of going over the macro piece, the labor market, the economy, the unemployment rate, the inflation numbers, interest rates, and all that stuff. When it comes to individual stocks, I feel like she trades a lot. She trades like very frequently on an everyday basis for someone who has a time horizon of 5 years plus. So, because earlier, we've seen her dump Palantir and then buy Palantir as well. Could be rebalancing as well, but like, it's just like few basis points here and there to the degree of how big her portfolio is. Kathy is a day trader. She certainly trades like it. All right, NEO is now down over 3%. We got AMD still up, Upstart up over 9%. 195 is the all-time high. And AMC is slightly down about 1%. Is a macroeconomic day trader. I don't even know if that's a thing. Macroeconomic day trader? Maybe like a macroeconomic like investor or something. but because macroeconomics are not really going to change day to day, right? Yeah, so I mean, NIO and a lot of other Chinese stocks are just coming down, including Li Auto and XPeng, pretty significantly. Let's take a look at DraftKings. DraftKings we haven't looked at in a long time. Let's see how that's doing. Slightly down. We had a decent day yesterday, up over 4.66%. Next resistance we're watching is going to be at closer to 55.50. Really expecting a breakout from this level eventually. And you'll notice that we actually got a breakout from this lower highs as well. So we were getting rejected at these lower highs. So we got rejected here once, twice, 3 times. And now we're seeing that potential breakout. Oh, we potentially could see that breakout over 55.50 as well. So yeah, bullish on this stock as well. We've actually been buying DraftKings lately. So we'll see if you actually get that breakout. And the support, of course, is going to be sitting close to $50 a share right there. So far we've already covered. Let's see how it's doing on the day so far. So down over 13%, down to $15 a share. Let's just watch Disney here. Still holding up. And let's see Wish. So Wish we also covered. You can kind of go back and check out the part where we go over the earnings for all Disney, for Wish, and for SoFi as well. We covered the earnings report and the price itself and did some technical analysis. You're more than welcome to kind of go back and check out the analysis for that. So I do expect like $38 and $30.50 to be like a support for NIO. That's kind of like the level we're watching. So we got that breakdown yesterday from those moving averages and this lower high as well. So this right here is a lower high. And now 38.50 is the next support level I'm watching for NIO. We'll see. We may get some buyers at $40 because $40 is kind of like the low for this candle was 48. So we did some buyers, see some buyers here. That right there is going to be the support level. Next, Disney is not up 7%. Marie, what stock are you watching? Disney's up 4%. IDEX. Yeah, I think I've done some analysis on this. So let's take a look. So revenues, significant decline from 2018 to 2019, 2020 here. Yeah, trades at 16 times sales. Revenue's been going down, unfortunately. Cash flows have also been going down, so from 10, 26, 15, then negative 41 million. The balance sheet is decent. Actually, it's really good. Very little debt versus cash that they have. And then current ratio is well over 3, so that's good. We got gross margins of 29% only. That's really low gross margins. For a company focused on facilitating the adoption of commercial electric vehicles and developing next generation financial services and fintech products. That's interesting. So fintech products and generation of next financial services. Not sure what that really means, but 29% is really low margins for the company. But this right here is a support on IDEX. If you are interested in this one, I closed at 223. Let's see what alert went off. Alright, so Tesla 728 breaking out, and then we also got an alert for TTWO. Yeah, so breaking out at 162. But this one, IDEX 223 is going to be the level to watch. We don't have quite any type of a negative divergence yet. We have like a horizontal support for this as well, similar to the price itself. So watch 223 as a support, and the resistance is going to stay put at those 50 EMA. Wireless charging for cars, gotcha. Alright, let's take a look at Tesla here. Seems to be breaking out over 728. There we go, so it's up almost 1%. Apple's pushing higher, so I'm assuming NASDAQ is kind of recovering a little bit. There we go, so NASDAQ is pushing higher a little bit, and of course the S&P, the Dow, doing exactly, since the open, pretty much up 22 basis points, and so is the S&P up 13. would you know why overall semi industry is on the downside? Is it? I mean, we've got AMD that's up, Nvidia is slightly down. Let's take a look at Intel, slightly down as well, and we've got Micron that is slightly up. So I mean, Micron has been selling off, but AMD is slightly up, Intel and Nvidia are slightly down as well. This could also be because, you know, I was reading today on Bloomberg where there was a port in China that was also shut down because of the new Delta variant. So that's also going to affect global trade. So I don't know how much that affects semiconductors and chips, but there's already been a shortage of those this year. And then you have another, basically, so even TSM is down. So let's take a look. Yeah, down 84 basis points. So not a huge drop, but I feel like that could be one of the reasons because of the shutdown in one of the ports in China that may halt some of the global trade, but we'll see how that all plays out. All right, so Wish, SoFi, Tattooed Chef. Tattooed Chef is down over 11% now, trading just over 18. Fubo is down. Clover Health, NNDM, Astra Space, Corsair is down 2.5%. Neo is down over 2.2. Neo does drop like in the first, like I should say, like first an hour or 2 hours, and then it kind of recovers once again towards the end of the day. It doesn't recover fully, but it does do a decent job in pushing higher slightly. Right, so the only greens on this watch list, let's see, Upstart to the moon. Let's go over to some SPY holdings here. So, all right, Disney up, of course, Pfizer's up, Tesla, Netflix. Netflix has a decent day today, 1.5%. Walmart, Salesforce, slightly up, close to 1%. And then we've got Johnson & Johnson. Everything else pretty much flat. Nothing really moving all that much. Let's take a look at the Dow Jones Stocks, Dow 30. XOM, so ExxonMobil down 1.5. We got Caterpillar that's down. Dilip, are you watching riveting test match at Lord's? No, I wasn't. What is that? Is that like are you watching cricket or something? Because I wasn't watching that. Alright, let's take a look at CrowdStrike. I feel like some of the cybersecurity stocks can definitely use some analysis here. Of course, okay, that makes sense. But no, I wasn't watching that. So cybersecurity, we got Zscaler slightly up. We got Okta paying slightly in the greens as well. CrowdStrike slightly flat. Cricket second test, gotcha. 250 is the next resistance for CrowdStrike. This is a stock that is on my watch list. I want a position in this, but it's a bit too expensive. 53 times sales, incredibly high. So I would need a steep discount to enter for CrowdStrike. But it's definitely on my watch list for sure. So watching it closely at 228 is the support here, all the way as low as 195, all the way as low as 168. So those are some support levels to watch for CrowdStrike. So Big Dipper, thank you so much. Yes, please make sure to drop a like and subscribe if you're new to the channel, right? That's very important because we cover a lot of fundamental analysis, technical analysis, and macro analysis as well. So thank you so much for that. Upstart, Apple, still up. Neo, let's take a quick look. Just want to get done with the Neo here. It's down still 2.2%. Remember, 38.50 is a support. All the way as $40. We'll see if the buyers kind of step in at 40. But like I said earlier, Chinese stocks are dropping quite significantly here. So we already covered Tattooed Chef. So Dilip, you can kind of go back on the live stream and go over Tattooed Chef. We've also covered Wish as well. We've covered CrowdStrike. I hope that's what you mentioned. So CROWD. Yeah, that is CrowdStrike, right? So let's go over JKS. All right. So Jinko Solar Holding Company. Revenues have been growing, so that's good. Quarter over quarter, they've been kind of stable. 0.56 times sales, really low price earnings at 126, so definitely high there. Balance sheet not the best, 2 to 1. We've got debt to cash here. So Intel we also covered earlier, but I can go over that as well for you. But this one, it feels like it rallied pretty significantly earlier in September 2020. I mean, this is just a significant gain, it looks like 370%. Then we started going sideways, we dropped off all the way down here. So the support I'd watch for this stock is going to be at closer to these levels, close to $35, $36 a share, and resistance is going to be at close to this, $62, $63 per share. There might be some support in the interim. Over here is $42, $44 a share. And I wouldn't be surprised to see some more consolidation sideways. And again, we're just starting to break down below the moving averages as well. Set a cup and handle. That's a great question. So you're asking for this one, right? For a cup and handle. So, I mean, if you take a look at this potential cup, so I mean, this could be some type of a cup and a handle here, but it's not. Let's just say it's not a perfect cup and handle, right? You can kind of you can estimate it to be this right here, the cup and a handle, but it's important to allow the stock for it to come down to $44. That's kind of like the support to watch for sure, right? That's going to be the most important level to watch. Philip, thank you so much for joining in. I really appreciate it. So, all right, next, SoFi we already covered. We've covered SoFi like so many times. Yeah, so if there's any new stocks that you guys want me to go over, I'm happy to go over those. Let's go over Intel very quickly. See how Intel is doing. So breaking down 75 basis points here. So this right here is going to be the level that we are now starting to break down further. Next level to watch is going to be at 48.75, 48.77. So at that level, I think Intel would be one of the most undervalued companies in the stock market right now. But again, with the new management, you really have to decide whether you are, because you're betting on the new management, right? So you have to understand that piece of that risk. Because Pat Gelsinger, he still needs to prove himself as Intel CEO. He still needs to do a lot of things that he's promising. So undervalued the company is, but the revenue also has all been declining. So I'm watching this company very closely. What is the resistance for TTWO? The resistance is at close to, I believe, that 50 EMA, sitting at roughly 169, 170. It's up another 1.3%. This stock should have been a buy. So Angel, we already covered Coinbase. You're more than welcome to kind of go back and check out that part and then jump over to the live stream. All right, let's see. Fiverr we also covered. Teladoc we have not covered here. Let's see how that's doing. So Teladoc still kind of range bound. Not really, not a lot of volume on Teladoc. So I'll kind of tweak this slightly down. 143, 142 around those levels. 142.75 is going to be the support level. All the way as low as 130. So we're still getting rejected at the 50 EMA, so that right there is going to be the yellow line you guys see on the chart, and support is going to be at sitting 142.75. So so Mohammed, what is your idea about long term of BTC and Ethereum? Do you have any positions? So long term, I do believe that they both have a lot of potential, in my opinion, for in the crypto space. I think they are gonna do really well in the future, and we're still trying to figure it out, right? We're still trying to figure out how this technology works and where it kind of fits in the fintech space, in the world of like financial system and so forth. So I do believe that they have potential to grow in the future, for Bitcoin to retrace back up to all-time highs, for Ethereum to also break past over 4,300. I personally don't have positions in either of those, but I am playing the crypto through other stocks, like including Mara and Coinbase and some of those companies. So I basically have position in those two right now. Maybe you have a banner on the top of your video displaying the timestamps you've discussed previous companies. Yeah, that's a good point. I should start doing that for sure. But it's just the only problem is that it kind of shows me like a timer on my end, but it doesn't show me exactly what time we actually discussed these stocks. So I might have to figure that out in the future. So NEO and Tesla also coming down here. So Tesla with a big drop. So is Apple starting to pull back a little bit. Let's see where Amazon's trading. Slightly down over 37 basis points. So the 10-year yields are coming down over 2.3%. The VIX is 15.5. So these stocks still down. Tattooed Chef is now down over 12%. Oof. So Tattooed Chef really coming down pretty significantly on the day. So my view on Ford's EV future, I think Ford has a lot of potential with their F-150. That's kind of like the best-selling truck in the United States. I think that vehicle is actually going to do really well because I actually used to work at a construction company, and we had a partnership with Ford, and all of our entire fleet was Ford. All of our vehicles were Ford. So, that was just us, right? We had so many contractors that we used to work with that basically had partnerships with these companies, right? Either GM or Ford. So that alone is like such a huge market, even if it's not catering to like individuals for F-150s. Like even though I do believe like individuals are gonna love that vehicle, I know that with these contractors that use or have been using Ford, and of course with the US that has like by 2030, half the vehicles should be like all electric. I think that's going to really push a lot of contractors to completely switch their fleets and get those F-150s. So I think that is going to be very, very important for the company as well. So I think that's going to really drive their sales moving forward. Thoughts on Tattooed Chef. So we have covered this. I'm doing some analysis on this company right now. The valuation is still high from a price to sales perspective. So this is the higher low from a technical standpoint. That right there is going to be the ascending support inside this symmetrical triangle. So watching that, it's going to be sitting roughly at $17. So we'll see if that level gets hit or not. I think international issues like Taliban will affect the market. It's kind of like a tough question. Honestly, I don't know. I don't know. I don't see it as being like affecting the global markets. I don't think it's going to be that much of an effect on the global markets. It really depends on how the situation kind of progresses, because I was reading about it, and there were quite a few people kind of fleeing the country. So I think that could cause some market turmoil, but overall, like from a global market standpoint, I don't see that as being a problem. Great question though. It's just everything's just so interconnected. It's hard to kind of understand how the effects of everything on the markets, because everything has like different implications, right? Interest rates have different implications, unemployment has different implications, global trade, all these different things. That's why it's like economics really makes you think, right? Economics and just like understanding the macros really helps us to understand what's going on in the markets as well. So Corsair Gaming, let's see, we are down roughly 2% here. The stock is just getting beaten down left and right. The RSI is really oversold. The MACD is very, very oversold. The valuation is very undervalued. 2650 is the support here. Actually, you know what? 2625. is the support. Previous resistance, we actually got validated at that level after the earnings. Then we saw a little bit of a push higher. 28.50 is going to be the next resistance to watch. So that right there is going to be the resistance on the day. And of course 26.27, 26.25 is going to be the support here. DDOG, so Datadog, up 3.3%, so that's really, really strong. So earnings, let's see. So I think we did break this down, but Datadog reported Q2 adjusted earnings Thursday, 9 cents per diluted EPS from 5 cents a year ago. The consensus of analysts polled by Capital IQ was 3 cents. Net revenue for the quarter ended June 30th was $233.5 million, up from $140 million a year ago. And analysts polled were $212.4 million. So they reported better than expected revenues. The company expects Q3 2021 EPS to be 5 and 6 cents, assuming 344 million diluted shares outstanding. Revenue between 246 248 million. And the company updated its 2021 revenue expectations in a range of $938 to $944 million, up from previous guidance. So again, guidance is very important for the markets right now. And I believe it's hitting a new all-time high, roughly. It does have a gap here that it kind of left, 116, between 116 and 122. And there is going to be some support at this level for Datadog, close to $119 a share. If you could only own one stock in your portfolio, which would it be and why? That's such a tough question. That is a really good question, but it's also a really tough question. I think it would have to be Tesla. It would have to be Tesla stock. The reason is because of how they're disrupting not just one but like different industries right now, and they're improving their business model, they're improving their margins, and they are also becoming more efficient with their operating leverage as well. So I think they've got a lot of potential to grow. Isn't Tesla quite volatile? I'd say it was volatile, but you'll notice that the beta has come down. As the price goes up, the volatility comes down because it's not as frequently traded. With any smaller price stock, you'll notice the volatility is much higher with Tesla, which was previously very volatile, but now it's kind of stabilizing. So now it's really difficult for us to see a 10% plus day for Tesla. Earlier, it was like, including the S&P 500, all these different catalysts, battery day, we did see the sell-off, but after that, we did rally once again. With the short squeeze, 10%, 15, 20%, 25% plus days. So now it's starting to come back down in the volatility. So BNGO right here, looks like we are now starting to see a breakdown for the stock below the 200 SMA. So this right here is going to be some type of a support at close to 553. So we've just been validating that level here. So time and time again, we've just validated the support once, twice, 3 times, and that right there is going to be the next support level to watch for BNGO. Lisa Sue will be heartbroken. That's a no. I love AMD. It's definitely one of my bigger positions. But AMD, it's just like it's kind of concentrated to semiconductors. Look at that, we're up over 2.3%. But it's kind of concentrated to one sector, like just semiconductors and chips. Whereas Tesla is in software, they're in hardware with their electric vehicles, they're in energy, solar. They're possibly going to get into insurance business as well. So there's more verticals for Tesla. They can kind of tap into different sectors as well and increase their total addressable market, right? So I think that really grows your business in the future if they're able to successfully execute on that. Look at Amazon, right? Amazon's not just in one business. They're in so many different businesses, disrupting so many different industries. Same with Apple. So if you are going to pick one stock to hold for the rest of your life, there's a couple things you want to make sure. Make sure that it's like a B2C business to consumer, because it's always going to be much easier to scale that business as opposed to something that's business to business, right? That's why I didn't pick Palantir, because it's more business to business. They're only targeting other enterprises, which is very difficult to grow. They're doing a great job, but it's much difficult to scale that business. So Milad says I would get Google. That's great. So Carlos, I am very diversified. The long-term portfolio, I'd say I have about 20 stocks, mostly concentrated in sort of tech and growth. But I do have companies like Walgreens, Vertex Pharmaceutical to kind of balance out some of the more value and dividend companies as well. So it's not all tech and growth, but it is mostly concentrated in that. What is the next resistance for Upstart? So Upstart is, it's hitting a new all-time high, so it's kind of hard to judge what that next resistance is going to be. I mean, it's just a strong breakout on significant volume for Upstart here. So $200, I think that's kind of like a milestone number for Upstart to watch. But we'll let the sellers determine where that next resistance is going to be, right? So right now it's kind of like in this price discovery phase where we really need to understand where the sellers are going to step in before we see that pullback. All right. So what are you doing to protect yourself in case of a September crash comes? So mostly in terms of protection, I just raise more capital. I just raise more cash. So I have a lot of buying power. In fact, probably before the end of this year, I'm going to be doing a lot of private live streams. And if we do see that correction, I'm just ready to like jump in, right? So I'm going to be doing a lot of private live streams. We're going to be analyzing a lot of companies, and we're going to be buying live. Like these market open live streams are going to be dedicated to our Patreon members, and we're going to be actually doing a lot of analysis and buying live when the market is open. So and this is considering the market pulls back. Like that's what I'm really waiting for. But in case there is none, I want to be invested as well. So I'm about, I'd say like 25% or closer to 30% cash at the moment, with about 70% invested. So that's good because in my opinion, I've always encouraged this, that you want to stay invested in the markets, right? If you miss out the 50 best days, you miss out on a lot of the gains for the S&P, because take a look at the S&P, right? It just continues to drift higher regardless of what's going on in the markets or the economy, right? It just continues to drift higher and higher and higher. I mean, this has just been a consistent uptrend. So you always want to stay invested, and if you think that there is going to be a potential pullback or a crash, then of course options are a great way to hedge your positions, your long-term positions, but you can also raise more capital in case there's a pullback or a correction, that you can start buying more shares again. So I think that's what I like to do really when we are seeing a pullback. So Myhan, thank you so much for that. I'm gonna give you a shout out here with our new high-tech features of our live stream. So thank you for that. So how much percentage do you recommend in cash? It really depends on your preference. There's no right or wrong answer here. Honestly, like there's no specific percentage that I could give you that's one size fit all type deal. It really depends on what your strategy is, right? It could be 5%, it could be as high as 50%, right? So it also depends on your likelihood or your expectation of a pullback, right? I think that we are going to see one before the end of the year, like a correction, regular correction. If that happens, then I'm ready to buy. If you don't think you're going to see one, then you could kind of bring that number down to like maybe 10% or 5%. So there's no right or wrong answer. You have to kind of be the judge for that. So I haven't really covered opinions on margin. Do you use it? So I actually don't use margin at all. I strictly have a cash account. But margin, again, if used appropriately, there's good debt and there's bad debt. So I've actually done a video on this. If you're using it to basically make sure that you have the income or the cash flows to pay down the margin when you need to, in case the market turns, then yes, by all means, they can be really powerful. But it really comes with experience, right? It really comes with experience, and obviously, I wouldn't recommend taking our margin to go on some very speculative stocks. If your goal is to establish longer-term positions in fundamentally sound companies, then yes, margin can be very helpful, but you always have to make sure that that percentage of margin is reasonable. You're not overexposing yourself to that. So because if you do that and the market turns, then you're going to find yourself in a very difficult situation as well. All right, let's take a look at. So the more liquidity you have, the more you can take advantage of the red days. Remember, stocks almost always drop faster than they rise. Yeah, that's a great point. We always take the elevators down and the staircases up, right? So, all right, there was a question. So BA. So let's take a look at Boeing. So Boeing actually did see a little bit of a breakout here past 234. So we're actually going to go ahead and turn this level back into a support for Boeing stock. So this right here is going to be the support level to watch, and the resistance is now going to be sitting at close to $259, $260. Boeing has a really strong business, in my opinion. You know, it's probably, in my opinion, never going to go under because it's one of the biggest government contractors as well. So Boeing has always had the pleasure to raise money when they needed to kind of, you know, weather through all types of recessions and corrections and different types of market environments. So it has a lot of potential, but I'd say like it's fairly valued in the markets right now. It's fairly valued, meaning that it's not undervalued, it's not overvalued at the moment either. I'd say it's appropriately valued in the markets. And you'll just notice this trend from Boeing where, let's just go ahead and delete these lines. So, oh really? I don't have the logarithmic charts on? Come on. All right, so this right here is the chart. Yeah, so we actually did see a breakdown for Boeing below this higher low, and now we're just kind of making a move back up to 234. So we'll see if that level continues to validate as a support. And the next resistance, like I said, is going to be 259, 260. So we did come down to 204 a little bit a while ago, like July 19. We did come down quite a bit. All right, let's take a look. AMD now rallying back up. 109.95 is the high for the day, up over 3%. We got Amazon slightly flat. We got Upstart 198.50. So we're now starting to see a little bit of a curling in pattern. Tesla slightly down. Let's see how NIO is doing. NIO consolidating sideways now, so the selling pressure does seem to be getting exhausted a little bit. The VIX down about 83 basis points, and look at the NASDAQ here. Beautiful breakout here from the NASDAQ, up 19 basis points, now starting to outperform both the S&P and the Dow Jones. So there we go, the NASDAQ almost at new all-time highs once again. How many of you guys think that we're gonna hit 15,000 before the end of the month for the NASDAQ? Let me know in the live chat what you guys think, and if we're gonna see 15,000 on the NASDAQ before September. Yeah, the chat is definitely delayed, I feel like. So yes, 100%. One yes for 15,000 on the NASDAQ before the end of the year. Before the end of the month, I meant. So Microsoft is also at all-time highs. Wow, what a breakout. 77 basis points here. So breaking out over 290. Look at that. 292. Microsoft, man. This stock has just been absolutely killing it. Year to date, I think this stock is up over like 40% or something. 30%. 30.8%. So strong move to the upside from Microsoft. AMD is just on a complete rally here. I don't know if there was a catalyst, but so unusual options activity on AMD. So why is the market moving up still? I think it's just part of some of the inflation numbers that we got earlier, which basically did suggest, and again, this was an article that I was reading earlier, didn't get a chance to break it down, but right here, so you'll notice that markets no longer fear inflation and stocks will continue to rally, HSBC says. This came out August 13th, so today. Chief Investment Officer Jiang Chen said that after a period of concern about persistent higher inflation, markets appear to have gotten used to the concept. Arguably, markets are now more focused on the state of the play regarding the Delta variant and the spread of the virus as well. So I really do think that that we have inflation fears kind of subsiding in the markets right now. As we saw that inflection point, in my opinion, that was the inflection point. We'll see if that actually plays out in the future. If we see like another rally in September for inflation, for CPI, core CPI, or if we start really coming back down. One of the things to focus on is going to be the rents and the shelter prices, because that was basically the big catalyst that people are thinking that it's not being included, and moving forward it may go up as well. So Big Dipper, thank you so much for that. I really appreciate it. So FCX inverse head and shoulders on a daily. So let's take a quick look. So yeah, I mean, I like this stock so far. I mean, it's got a resistance here at the $46 level, and let's see, got some support here at close to 3150 levels. So yeah, I forgot what the let me see. Alright, so we're looking at a pattern that should look like, let me draw that. So head and shoulders would basically be something like this, right? So we're looking at something that's going to be inverse of this, something like that. Yeah, it kind of confused me for a little bit. But no, I don't think this is that. This is not an inverse head and shoulders on the daily. I wouldn't say that is what this is, because you'll notice that we've kind of like had this like that, and they're possibly on our way potentially down if we do get that head and shoulders, right? That's going to be the regular head and shoulders pattern. So in my opinion, there is some type of resistance intraday at around these levels. So that's going to be this right here, whatever that, closer to $39-40 for the stock. So $39 per share, that's going to be the resistance here. And if we do get that breakout, then yes, there's a possibility that we see a move back up to this $46 level. But if we do get rejected, then of course I wouldn't be surprised to see a sell off all the way down to $31.50. Palantir validating support. So 24.30, look at that. So 24.30, we had the support literally marked on the day. Low for the day, 24.31. Let's go over to the 5-minute chart. So we sold off, we came down, touched 24.30 before the buyer stepped in, pushed us higher. That's incredible. That's amazing. And yeah, so the next resistance is going to be at 25.74 to watch. But no, I mean, look at the amount of volume that was. Let's just take a quick look at that support. So we had 9:45 a.m. We kind of tested that level. We had over 2.3 million volume, right? So that's a lot of shares that got bought up. Then we got the bullish engulfing candle. Then of course the buyers really stepped in to push us higher. So we'll see if that level continues to validate, or if we see any type of breakdown. But 24.30, like I said, is going to be the level to watch intraday. And the next resistance, of course, is going to be 25.75. All right, guys. So thank you so much for joining in. I really appreciate you guys for tuning in to this market open. So I'm gonna highlight one of you guys. So I'm gonna highlight this. Thank you for that. I really appreciate you guys' support. And again, I hope you guys have a great weekend moving forward. Enjoy the weekend, of course. Don't spend too much time, reading the markets or looking at the charts or anything. Just enjoy the time off, because I think it's important for us to kind of take a break, recalibrate, take our mind off of this. Angel, thank you so much for that. I really appreciate you. So thank you for that. And again, I hope you guys have a great weekend. Thank you so much. Drop that like button if you're watching, and of course subscribe if you're new to the channel. Tattooed Chef, look at that, 1756 here. So coming down a little bit, pretty more aggressively, so 13%. Watch $17 is the next level that I have on Tattooed Chef. So again, thank you so much for joining in. Hope you guys have a great day. I'll see you guys in the next live stream. Cheers.